Refine Life podcast. We're going to refine your life, boy and girl. Yeah. Okay, anyways. We're here, as always, with my buddy Jeff Suter and my buddy Jared Blake, and I'm Bigg Vinny.
Cool.
And if you're here and you didn't know any of us, well, that's okay. Welcome to the family. When you're in here, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. You can't quit us. Okay. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions. And New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, New Year's month, the year after that, the week after that. How are you getting through it? How are you doing it? What are you going to do? Are you committing to it? Are you just doing it for a couple of weeks? Are you going to do it for the whole entire year? What are you going to do to better you? And I don't just mean in health and fitness. I mean all the way around. How you making more money? How you being a better dad? How you being a better Christian? How you being a better lover?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you making your body more healing and all that good stuff and feeling better on that kind of day? And, you know, how you spreading the word of God. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't know how much we're going to get to talk about how they're doing that. I think I'm going to be talking about you guys. But I want to know, first off, does anybody in here actually believe in New Year's resolutions? Do you actually make them? I know you guys are both very goal-driven people, but do you actually make New Year's resolutions?
So I think this year for me, it's not going to be a New Year's resolution, so to speak. Last year I did 75 hard starting at midnight, which if you don't know what that is, I know you do, but for you guys out there that might not, it's 75 days of no drinking alcohol, which I'm obviously drinking as we sit here.
Really 75 days of not living.
That's fact. For me, anyways, I've got to have my bourbon, which I think now's perfect time. So this is a very nice bottle, and I owe my man Akash Patel a massive shout out. He owns Murfreesboro Wine and Spirits, fantastic human, new owner, and I'm just gonna say he worked really hard to get me this. But beyond that, the experience when you go in there, Vinny, I know you don't drink, but that doesn't mean you won't ever need to buy wine or anything along them lines. But he's got a wine cellar in there that is absolutely fantastic. It's legit one of the best wine cellars I've walked in. Yes. So it's on South Church.
See, for a minute when you said a wine cellar, I thought it was like the person that sold you the wine. Like they were going to brag about how good of a cellar somebody was.
No. Yeah. Just it's literally in a humidor type room, but it's, kept at the perfect temp for your highly expensive, nice wines.
That's awesome.
And I mean, you go in, I think he had like 10 bottles of Opus 1 sitting there, and it's like, generally speaking, you see a bottle of Opus 1 behind the counter for sale for $5.
So there's no Boda boxes in there?
There's no what?
Boda boxes?
He's probably got those too. They're just not kept.
They're just not in the wine cellar.
They're not in the cellar.
Yeah. So anyways, that's an unpaid ad, so enough on that, but I just wanted to give my man that shout out.
Yeah.
And of course, Rye the Label. We got to shout out Rye the
Yeah.
Label. But anyways, 75 hard, 75 days no alcohol, 75 days committed to a specific meal plan, 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each, one inside, one has to be outside. Weather does not matter. So
January is a great time to do that.
It's perfect. Yeah. If there's a tornado warning, sorry about your luck. You got to go make it happen, right? So it makes you very accountable on your time for sure. Reading 10 pages nonfiction. And what am I missing? Am I missing anything? Drinking, food, 2 workouts, 1 inside, 1 outside, meal plan, reading
Picture.
10 pages. Oh, picture
and weight.
And your weight, yes. So committed to that last year amongst a lot of other things. And I think what most of us suffer from is we start hot and heavy, and then as the year progresses, we just slowly fall away from everything we committed to the last week of December or on January 1.
I mean, how much percentage would you say in the gym business that you make just off of that month?
So working for the V-Shred like I did for several years, we would see massive spikes in meal plans and sales and everything. I'd go from December doing 3, 4, 5 plans a day to January doing 40, 50, 60 plans a day.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a massive jump. It's huge for the fitness industry, for people to start finding that, and they want to commit to something. I think they're out there looking for How can I be better? I want to look better by summertime. I want to get that summer body. And in order to get the summer body, you got to start in the winter, you know. And the best way to get it is to get it and keep it, you know.
You got the gyms, though. You're signing up for contract, though. I was talking to a buddy that owned a gym. He was like, dude, less than 10% of the people who signed up actually go to this gym.
You know, you'll see when you go, if you're a gym goer, like I go pretty much every.
I don't want to go to the gym in January because it's just full of all these people that like trying to figure out machines. And
you don't want to go at the in the hours between 9 o'clock to 10:30 when all the you have all the soccer moms there during that time, and then the late afternoon, the 5 o'clock, you'll have everybody getting off work and everybody's into the gym at that time. And for me, part of it's a beautiful thing. Is I'm like, man, I love the fact that I want to encourage people to stay. So I think a lot of people that are in the gym that are constant goers, they get pissed off that time of year because they're like, God, all these assholes are back again, you know. But honestly, it's like every year a few of those people do stay, you know. It's very low percentage. When you ask me what percentage, probably less than 5% of the people actually stick with it when it comes to working out and stuff like that. The meal plans, working out. Even for me, like I have no problem. I mean, working out I love. I mean, I'm on vacation. People are like, oh, you're going to work out when you're on vacation. I was like, I got to work out. I love going to the gym. I enjoy lifting. So that for me is not a problem. But the meal plan part is hard for me, you know, because it's like, you know, if I have everything prepared and good to go, I'm good. You know, but if things aren't prepared and it's like, all right, well, I'll just grab a sandwich real quick, you know, even though it's not that bad. So having that devoted plan, like what you said in the Hard 75 is huge. I think when people realize, like, you don't have to go in when you do this resolution, like, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to be the most healthy human being on the planet. No, just like, take Coca-Cola out of your diet.
I change.
Don't go to McDonald's. You know, don't go to fast food. I haven't eaten fast food in, I mean, over 12 years. I mean, yesterday, December 13th, would have been 12 years since my finale of Biggest Loser. You know, that thing changed my life. It gave me new life. You know, it gave me the chance to still be healthy and get around. I'd be dead if it wasn't for that. So I don't know if it's like the New Year's resolution, the way everybody perceives it. When people go and they kind of like, I'm going to change everything, I'm going to be perfect all of a sudden. It's not really theoretically going to get you there. But if you make your goal like, I'm going to stop eating at McDonald's every day, or I'm going to stop going to Starbucks every single day. Part of it's going to be a financial thing for you. You're going to save money. And the other part is you're going to get in better health. Now, I'm not saying that everything you get from every place is going to make you fat because, I mean, listen, McDonald's has salads, or used to. I don't know if they still do. You can get a green tea if you go to Starbucks. So I'm not telling you that, but making that commitment to like, I'm going to leave out these things.
Paying $5 for a green tea.
Yeah, I'm out of that. You know?
With a lot of ice.
Well, I used to think I was doing something healthy because I'd go get those Lipton green teas. You know, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I looked at the sugar content. I was like, oh, it's not that great.
So do you make New Year's resolutions?
I don't necessarily make a resolution, but what I do try to do is make sure that I get back on my hustle. You know what I mean? I try to make sure that, hey, you know, this is time.
Start looking at your year of like what you did wrong, what you did right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of constantly always working on these goals. You know, I think that, you know, you'll see me. I've lost 29 pounds this year.
Well, that was one of the reasons I asked both of you in particular because I know you are always working on goals. So is a New Year resolution even a thing that you think about?
I think,
or do you think I live in that mode?
No, I think I live in that mode, but I also think it's a good time to sit there and think like and commit to something for yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a New Year's resolution. I know you'll see people say, "Oh yeah, we're going to make these New Year's resolutions and quit," but some people don't. Some people make the New Year's resolution and they turn it into a lifestyle. So I started it, a long time ago. I bought the website domain Lifetime Resolution. And I thought, man, if I can make a lifetime resolution, but I start it today, and what was The Rock? I don't know if he's the one that said it first, but it said it can either be one day or day one. And so I think if you do pick a day and it's like, hey, I'm going to start on that day, and you truly do start that day, well, at least you did something. Even if it only lasts for a week, if it lasts for a month, if it lasts for 3 months, or if it becomes a lifestyle for you forever, you still did something good for yourself. You know what I mean? And you showed yourself that you could somewhat commit to something. You could do something. I'm not saying it makes you a better person to create that, resolution for yourself, but sometimes those resolutions do really work for people. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think that most people fall off of it. And I think part of the reason, especially in the gym world, people fall off because they get there and then there's all these people that are pissed off that they're there. And I'm like, for me, I've always been the kind, and I guess because of where I come from, it's like, no, man, I want to encourage those people to stay. I want to help them. If I see them doing something wrong, I know I'm not going to walk up to some girl that's doing something wrong because I wouldn't do that. But if I see a guy that's struggling and he's bench pressing, I think, dude, that guy's about to rip his shoulder out, and I can go and help him a little bit. Obviously, we know, people get injuries. I mean, if you're working out at some point, you're probably going to get injured at some point. But if I could help them in some kind of way, that's what they need. They need somebody to let them know, like, hey, you're welcome here. And, if you need something, if I can help you, I'm here to help you. And I don't know. I think that's a big part of it. I think even when it comes to, surround yourself with people that want you to have those New Year's resolutions.
So here's another question. Did you answer my first question?
Yeah. I said I do look. I don't look at it as a New Year's resolution because I constantly keep myself on a grind, and then if I fall off a little bit a day or two here or there, I'll jump right back on.
Okay.
But that's when it comes to health and fitness. But I do at the beginning of the year normally make a vision board for the year. Yeah. And I look at it and say, hey, because obviously, to me, a year is a short-term goal. Used to, I thought, man, a whole year, that's forever. But years are so short now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like what do they say, the days are long, and years are short. I feel like that now. It's like, man, I'm just looking at this year, these short-term goals for this year that are going to lead me to the long-term goals. And I believe if you do a lot of little things right, you'll get to the big thing.
Interesting you put it that way, though, because I was looking over, like, I'm really big in the vision board idea. Not so much on the New Year's resolution. I just take that time to look over what worked and what didn't work and what do I need to change. Because when you're talking about, like, I feel like on a weekly basis, I put in a New Year's resolution. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And maybe I do, maybe I don't. But, like, you bring up these little goals. As I was looking at my vision board, and I was like, there is not a little goal on this board. Like, I think of them as little, but, like, they're all massive undertakings pretty much, right, that I put out there. So but you brought up the 75 hard. Are there other things that you look at or?
Yeah, I think for me, I use the first of the year as just a time to refocus. Reset. Like a good reset, a good refocus. Where did I lose focus throughout 2023?
Right.
Because there are a lot of places in my life where I lost focus.
Well, I think that's where the vision board really helps me out because you can go back and look at that and go, so these things I stuck to, these things I did, this is what I got out of it. These things over here, I realized I didn't even really want them that bad. Once I started doing it, I was like, this didn't mean as much to me as I thought.
Well, your priorities come into play.
I missed this one altogether. I didn't even try.
Yeah, I think your priorities come into play once you make that board. My board would look different than your board and your board. Like me, y'all guys, y'all like watches and y'all like, some of this stuff. I don't care nothing about that stuff. Car, like there wouldn't be a car on my board. I don't have a car that's like, man, I love that car. I
had a car.
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Like whatever your vision is your vision, And people get on there like, well, your goal shouldn't be this. Your goal should be whatever you want them to be.
Watch Vinny have a car before we have a car.
I don't even know what it would be.
He don't know what it'll be, but he'll have it.
I'll get an El Camino just so I can have the mullet of the cars.
The mullet of cars.
The mullet of cars. No, it's just one of those deals where I love the fact of setting goals, putting them into fruition. My wife is way better at doing the vision board stuff than me. Taking the time and cutting the stuff out and doing all that. I could just as easily put one, on my phone. Like, hey, here's the things I want to do. But I do think that there's something about putting it up in your house, walking by it every day, seeing it, reminding yourself, even if you just got on there and you just wrote the words of the things like, I want to be more respectful. I want to do this better. I want to do that better. I want to stay committed to my diet. And you read those things before you left your house every day. How much more committed would you be if you read it, you saw it, and you knew every day, you reminded yourself? I think that's what the vision board does. It reminds you like, oh yeah, this is what I'm focused on.
I think that's a big problem for me is I don't have my goals where I see them every day. I have to be very intentional to see them, and therefore they become out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. So that's a place where I can get better in 2024.
I'd done that, and this last year I put it up on where the sheet music goes on my piano. Oh, yeah. So every time I cross over into that room, I see that thing again.
Yeah.
Dope. I've never done a vision board.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, and that's
just come to my house and do it.
Well, hearing y'all talk about it, it makes like my mind immediately went to this wouldn't just be fantastic for me, but what could it do for my children?
Absolutely.
That's how I started doing it was with the children. I was blown away with only one still in the house. That everyone, and it was like maybe 3 days before, I was like, hey, this date, I'm going to do this. I'm going to supply everything. Let me know if you're coming, so I have a board for you and everything. And I was surprised every single child showed up. Every child put in probably at least 4 to 5 hours on those boards. Like it meant something to them as we were doing it. It's pretty crazy.
I just think your thoughts become things. You look at when you look at the story of Jim Carrey writing himself $1 million or $10 million check or whatever it was for a movie, and then he put a date on it, and by that date he was able to go and give himself that check. And that was a theoretical check, but he wrote it, he kept it with him. I think putting those things in, making it intentional, going for the things you want is a beautiful thing. So when people make resolutions, we automatically think of health and fitness because that's most people's beginning of the year resolution. But it doesn't have to be that. It can just be, like I said, I want to be a better dad. So what are the steps I can take to becoming a better dad? Or I want to be a better Christian. I want to follow God's word better this year. Those are all things that I think we don't look at as much, and we should, because those goals are just as important or more important than can I lose weight.
Yeah. No,
I always hear people say, man, if I can just lose 20 more pounds, I'll be happy. I'm like, that's not going to make you happy, bro. I was happy whenever I was 500 pounds. Now, I had a lot of things that I was fighting and demons I was fighting. That's what was making me unhappy, which is also what made me gain weight. It was because I was trying to hide this darkness that I had went through. And so when you learn that, it's like you're not bound. The weight is not what's making you feel that way. So losing 20 more pounds, you're going to look in the mirror and say, man, now I need to do this. I had body dysmorphia for very long. After I lost all the weight, all I could see was the loose skin. After I got the loose skin removed, all I could think of was looking at that magazine and thinking, man, I need to be a bodybuilder. I need to be as big as those guys. And I would look at myself and think I was tiny. I was like, man, I'm so little. And other people were like, golly, your chest is huge. Man, your arms are massive. And I'm like, no, they're not. Look at that dude, And it was the comparison is the thief of joy. And so I think, setting those goals is a beautiful thing. Doesn't mean you're going to reach all of them, but it gives you something to focus on. So I do think it's a good thing. I live a little differently than I think a lot of people. Most people we know, they're going to wake up today. They're going to go to, 7 o'clock. They're going to get in their car. They're going to sit in traffic. They're going to go to their job. They're going to go through the motions of everything they got to do, whether they're working in a factory or if they're working behind a desk or whatever they're doing. And then they're going to get off work and they're going to travel home, sit in traffic, do the whole thing, get home. And we're going to repeat the same thing 5 days a week. And then they're going to get Saturday and Sunday off. And they're going to go, back and do it again the next week. Mm-hmm. Some people won't even get Saturday off. Some people don't get Saturday or Sunday off. So when we talk about the overall, world, we're not talking about guys that do, music for a living or own your own company, you have your own, this and that. Because we all know when you own it, you're working 24/7 anyways. There's no day off or even down in, when we were in Jamaica, we're still little pieces of work are creeping in, even though we try to do. I did really good. I was proud of myself. I was proud of you.
I bragged on you multiple times. I did watch Vinny, though, while we were down there. It took him probably 2 days.
Yeah.
That you watched him, like, his energy was still the same. And on, like, the third day, you saw his energy shift, which I've never seen in this man. It shifted and got a lot more, like, relaxed. Chill mode.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that with him. So it was cool to see. But I bragged on you to everybody. I was like, because Jen was like, he was still working. I was like, not for Vinny. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like,
I mean, the thing was, it happened to fall right when the Christmas song dropped. So it was like the Christmas song dropped on Friday. We left on Friday. Yeah, so it's kind of like.
Yeah, but you can't really go with that because all of us keep enough stuff going on. There's always going to be something happening.
No,
that's
true,
what I was telling Jen when we went down there. She was like, well, the house. And I was like, babe, there's always a house that you're in the middle
right,
of.
Yeah.
Like it.
Well, even with my wife, I said, bring your computer, get on there because she has to be on there to answer little questions every day. And I was like, but let them know, let the clients know we're on vacation. She, there were several times I left my phone in the room. She left her phone in the room. If we carried one of the phones, it was just to take pictures while we were on the beach, or, we went and got an actual coconut, cut up, and we drank the coconut from the thing for us. But, I gave myself, I guess, the forgiveness or whatever you want to call it, permission to let my diet relax, to go out and do that. Because I focus on it way more than anybody would ever think, because I'm a bigger dude still. But I'm very meticulous. Like I'm very I shouldn't have done. Even when I eat something, like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I'll go do cardio that night, or whatever. And so I didn't want to be constricted to that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm on this vacation with my wife. I'm going to do these things, and I tried to be intentional about that. When we were at dinner, all of us together, man, there was no phones out there. It was one of the coolest things I thought, because I almost wanted to grab my phone and pull it out and get a picture of everybody not having their phone out at the table, But we had this awesome, the last night we were there, we had this awesome steak dinner, just us and our friends. It was delicious. We had great conversation. It was really cool. We were very intentional with our time. So I think the same thing applies when you are setting these goals. Be intentional, but be realistic. when you're going to go make this New Year's resolution, whatever it might be, make it on something that, hey, I can actually achieve that. Because if you go and it's like, by the end of the year, I'm going to lose 120 pounds. I'm going to have a six pack. I'm going to be this and that. I'm like, I'm not saying you couldn't achieve it. I lost 211 pounds in 6 months. So you could achieve it. But what I'm saying is if you look at it and say, you know what, this year, I'm going to stop drinking Coca-Cola. Or I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes. Or I'm going to stop, doing, a lot of people have addiction to porn or whatever it is that you have something that's, I almost think you want to pick something that you feel like is somewhat in control of a part of your life.
I would agree with that.
Because I think we all have something, we all have, like for me, it's always food, so it's for me, as not even a New Year's resolution, it's a now thing, because I'm going to have this ankle surgery. I already told my wife, I was like, hey, I want to be fully prepared when I have this ankle surgery. I'm staying lean and green. I mean, I'm going to eat enough carbs to help me recover, but I'm not going to have carbs first thing in the morning. I'm not going to have carbs before bed at night. I want to stay lean and green. I want to get plenty of vegetables in, plenty of things that are going to help me, heal this process, plenty of protein, all those things. I'm making a plan for that. So it's not necessarily a resolution I'm making, but it's a plan for how I'm going to reach this goal in my life. Because what I don't want to do is I'm going to be in bed 6 to 8 weeks. I don't want to lay there and be like, wake up 6 to 8 weeks later and gain 30 pounds or gain 20 pounds because I'm not going to be able to get the normal movement in. Because me, I'm on the go all the time. Even with this messed up ankle, I'm like, they told me, it's like, you don't really want to go over 7,500 steps a day. This is what the doctor told me. He goes like, you probably keep it around 7,500 a day. I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I checked my phone at the end of the night. 12,561 steps. I'm like, crap. Yeah. 15,000. Well, that was 2 days. I'm gonna sit down all day tomorrow though. I'm gonna save up my steps. But no, I believe that it's a beautiful thing. And what I do wish is that more people would be supportive. So my advice would be, if you are setting a New Year's resolution, surround yourself with people that are going to support you in any of those things you do, but especially in New Year's resolutions. You're like, man, I want to lose weight. And then somebody saying, oh, you ain't never going to lose weight, man. Why are you even doing that? Come have some pizza with me. Get rid of that person.
If they're not rowing the boat, you're out.
Yeah. You're out. I mean, it doesn't mean you're rid of them forever.
At the same time, I still would put a lot more stock to anybody that makes resolutions into that vision board.
Yeah.
The beauty of that vision board to me was, once again, I failed at some of them, but I achieved some of them too.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of them you realize, like I'll tell you one that I really realized was the car one that was on there. So about a month ago, I had this opportunity to not buy the same exact car on there, but it was real close.
Yeah.
And I looked through it and I thought, well, if I get rid of that bike, I can probably buy that car in cash. And so I'd made this plan. I was going to get rid of both the bikes, and then I was going to buy this other bike over here and buy that car in cash, buy that bike in cash, and then I was going to start flipping that bike into a very similar model to the really expensive bike that I got rid of. And the more I looked at it, the more I was just like, yeah, I still want a car like that, but it's just not now. It's just it's not the time.
Hey, don't tell me your dreams and goals. I'll start sending you pictures of.
You will, but like,
I will.
Here it is.
I was like, dude, I had to go look for this for you.
I went and looked at the car. I test drove it a couple times, and I was sold that that's what I was going to do. And the closer I got to it, the more I just realized it's just not the time for it right now. It's not where I need to be spending my time.
Well,
and so that car will probably most likely go on next year's list, and maybe it'll be the time. Yeah. And I saw some other things that I did pursue on that board that I didn't accomplish, that I was like, that wasn't lack of me trying. That was, it clearly is not time for that yet.
Yeah.
And so that gets shifted over to next year. But because it's not, well, I'm going to lose this much weight this year, that's what I'm going to do, and it's just that one thing, then you fail at that and you feel like crap. Where I put all these things on that board and I was able to see, hey, some of these didn't mean as much to me as I thought they did.
Yeah.
Some of these, it was, when I look at my time, I go, it was physically impossible for me to accomplish those, which I did. There's no way I could have accomplished those over there because I didn't have time. So it also makes you feel good to realize, like, hey, the only reason I really didn't accomplish these other goals is because there was not enough time in the day. There was not enough time in the year for these things to have happened. It would have had to been a stroke of luck, but I am curious on some of them too, as we get to the end of the year, to see some of them that haven't happened yet, how close they are to happening.
Right.
And going, dude, I don't give a crap. I mean, maybe that happens in February. Maybe it happens in March. It's still so close to happening. Yeah. And like I said, in some of them that you literally, I go, yeah, I dig that one still, but not the way I thought I did.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think as you do go through it, and listen, dreams change. Wants and needs change every single year. I mean, you got a different life now. A few years ago, you had 6 kids in the house all the time. So it's like you weren't even thinking about these things because you're like, no, I got to figure out how am I paying for college. If this one wants to go, how am I going to make sure this one has a car to get back and forth to school? I mean, you're thinking about, so now it's like with these new things that have come into, you're like, okay, now I do have the money to start looking at, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that. So all these other things come flood in. Well, if I did that, but then I could do this over here. So I think you're just getting used to that life. And not that you don't still have plenty of bills with your kids, because you do. But I do think that there's a lot that comes into play whenever your life changes a little bit. Whenever I was first getting married, we thought we weren't going to be able to have kids, So I made all these plans like, okay, well, let's get a little, van type thing or RV that we could drive around, and we'll go spend some time in Florida, or, go play some trop rock, get down in, the bay somewhere, or whatever. The Gulf Coast, that's what I started thinking. I was like, well, we'll see this, see that, and then I'll go play my shows, and then who knows where we'll be.
Y'all are going to be playing pickleball in South Florida or something.
Yeah, I mean, but then literally a month after that, it was 2 months after that, we found out we were pregnant, and I was like, what? So your ideas of what you want change. For now, like for me, I don't have any real material possessions that I think, man, I'd like to have that. I want a new recliner, because mine's kind of broken down because I've rocked 2 babies in it and, wallered it out.
You can make that one happen.
No, I'm going to,
Put that on your board. Pretty sure you got that one.
That one don't even have to be on the board. It's happening no matter what. But what I'm saying is like, I don't have a lot of those. Now my things come to like, okay, I want my son to excel in Taekwondo because he's doing that. So it's like, how can I be better at being a dad so that it makes him more interested in it? How can I encourage him? How can I help him?
Yeah, those sort of things.
Those things are different for me because I'm just now getting to that. You've been through
and it's
it.
also moving you to different things about yourself. This comes out after Christmas, right? Yeah. So one of the things, like while we were on that trip, such an amazing trip, and you're watching, like I was watching you and your wife, and realizing how much time you were getting that you don't normally get, and even though me and my wife are together a lot, still it's that time away from work and time away from your phone, and I realized that on my vision board last year, vacationing was up there. And it wasn't for the reason that most people would look at it. It wasn't for going on vacation. It was for the simple fact of, I need time to bond with my wife. I need time to bond with my children. I need time to invest in them the same way I invest in work or anything else. And as I was on the vacation, I was thinking about that and realizing like, you didn't do too hot on that one this year. Like nothing really changed. Everything was still, the places you went were still typically business.
Yeah.
And I think it means something to your wife to go, this isn't business. We're going over here and we're going to be together.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead, because she's always talking about it. She brought it up probably 5 times while we were on this trip. And so for Christmas, I booked a cruise with Jen that obviously she shouldn't know anything about. And then I was like, what would be a way that would make her feel special to know that I put some time into this? And so I sent off to have all of our other like big trips for photos to get those printed off, and I ordered a little photo book like that. No one ever does that crap anymore, to put all those photos of all those trips in it. And then at the end of the book, as you get through all those trips, and it's going to have the pictures of where we're going. So, but it'll be printed out, so she'll be like, "Where was this? Where was it?" Like she won't understand it. So she flips through. And
that's cool. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate him for making us look like assholes for Christmas.
I got time.
I got my wife a trip to Jamaica. Yeah.
But it was looking and thinking about that vision board and going, hey, just go ahead and make this happen for next year. Go ahead and start working on the things that you didn't accomplish this year. Start looking at how can I make those happen next year. And to be honest with you, like, I think my vision board this year will just be a different version of the same vision board I just did. It'll just be going, hey, these things you accomplished, now keep going on those. Yeah. These are the things that didn't measure up. They're not as important. These things were still important. Put more time in on that. I mean, Jen's got one that like she didn't even mean to create. She put on her board to be a better leader, and I don't think she understood what was going to happen out of it. But then she started this Bible study out of nowhere, and like the other day she was saying, she's like, well, I don't know anything about this or that. So, and I was like, after it was over, I was like, babe, you got to stop telling people that you don't know. It's like, because you're walking in there every night and leading people in Christ in a way that I've never seen you do. the authority you speak with when you talk about the Bible is a completely different thing now. And I was like, you're going to make people feel bad in that group because they're like, oh, if she thinks she doesn't know anything, I don't know. I was like, just you are leading those people. You know, and I think that's one of the beauties too of like you put that on the vision board. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into. Like I put 10 million streams on there. That's all I wrote was 10 million streams. And I was just thinking about it. I was sitting here with you guys. I was like, how many streams we have total from this podcast that I didn't even know was going to be a thing?
Yeah. It's probably pushing that.
You know?
Yeah.
It's on up there.
Yeah, when you start looking at the streams on all the different things, the streams of how many reels reacted on this page and that page, all of your music streams, you know, all the things that, you know, I mean, it's probably getting up close to that, you know. So, I mean, which is pretty cool, you know. Now that equates to about $20,000 probably too from Spotify.
We're looking for sponsors.
Yeah.
Sponsors.
Yeah. Sponsors. Do you need a New Year's resolution? You could put us on your list.
And if you don't, you hate Jesus and children.
So let me just ask you.
And puppies.
Yeah.
You probably beat puppies with
Michael Vick
socks with kittens in them.
Dang.
Damn,
we got rough right
He took
there.
the cats and the dogs out in like a couple swings.
Yeah. It was that comedian I saw the other day. He goes, he said something about there's all these kids at the school now that identify as cats, and he said he goes, and I think they should be allowed to be in school. He goes, but what I want to do is also go and get all the guys and girls that identify as dogs and put them in the room with the cats and just see how that works out. You know? So, anyway, so Jeff, just let me ask you this. So I know you don't really, you know, you said you haven't made the vision board, all that. Now that you're thinking about it, what would be on your vision board for this coming year?
Some of the things, like Jared was saying, I think there's a lot that where I came up short this year. One of my big things this year was, and this stemmed from 75 Hard in prior years, was family walks. Just so my outdoor thing was a 45-minute walk at night. And it's very peaceful. You get to really just, it's good God time, really. Like, I live where there's no street lights. I get the moon, the stars. You know, it's impeccable, right? It's that silent time of my day. And I found myself doing that with my family from time to time, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So one of my goals this year, I think it was 52 family walks. It came out to 1 a week or 2 a week, or I can't remember what the number was.
Well, 52 is 1 a week.
52.
Yeah, but I might have done 104. I can't remember if it
okay.
was, but it's, you know, we started off fantastically. I'd say we probably got to March where we were in stride, spending that time together a couple times a week, you know, taking that 45-minute stroll as a family. And as you get busy and you get further away from, it's kind of like once you're out of the game, you just fail to get back in. That was us this year.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get back to that because that's just very intentional family time where there's no phones, there's no TV, there's no distractions. It's just me, my wife, my 2 daughters, the moon, the stars, the breeze, the birds, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So that's going to be, I definitely want to get back to that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, old vision board Johnny? What's the newest thing? I mean, I know obviously you said you're going to do better about doing the vacationing with your wife and all that, but what's
He's going to play Johnny's piano.
Well, the
again.
first thing going on my vision board is make a vision board. So I know that killed that one.
Yeah. Bam!
Out of the gate. Bam!
already knocking things off this.
Man, you know, I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, there's so much that you thought you wanted to add to this year, but at the same time, I feel so blessed this year of what I made it through. I think simplify is the big one for me. Is looking at how I want less on my vision board this year.
Yeah,
And I want
that's
to
not a
accomplish
bad
them
thing.
all. You know, I want to understand what I'm doing with each one of those.
Priority
I think
vision.
my visions were too loose. Let's go around. It's like, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. I want to understand how am I actually accomplishing that? Can I accomplish that? But and looking and going, maybe this one over here needs to go on next year's vision board because it just doesn't fit in with what I'm trying to.
And I think with that is when you make that vision board, can you make a plan for each vision? do you have the time to reach each vision, and then prioritizing that. So if I put on there that, hey, I want to get down to 200, one of the things that'll be on mine is I want to get down to 275 this year. I wanted to do it last year. Just like last year, I'll be starting off with an ankle surgery, and I used that as an excuse and a little bit of a crutch last year. Like, well, and so I lost, 29 of the pounds, put a few on this week in Jamaica, but 6 to be exact. But I mean, I feel like
that's not bad.
No, I was pretty proud of that for a whole 5-day vacation in a place where you have an all-inclusive resort where you could literally get ice cream anytime you wanted. I did pretty good.
That's exactly what most people think about all-inclusive resorts right there, where I can literally get ice cream. This is the man that I love. I love this guy right here.
Yeah.
Wasn't a thought about how drunk he could get every day. I could eat ice cream all day.
All day long. They could just give me ice cream anytime I wanted. Well, from 1 o'clock till 9:30, I guess.
But they did try to make you feel bad about it because they always give it to you in those little small bowls. And you're like,
Can I need 2 of these? Yeah.
I'm a grown man.
Yeah. Well, I just went 2 times a day. No big deal. Not every day, but most every day. So
he did pull that card, though, at the appetizer came out. It was 2 little shrimp. And he was just looked up and I was like, really? Really?
He brought me 4 more. So still, I felt like I got to eat more. I mean, they're bacon wrapped shrimp. I mean, you can't bring me 2 bacon wrapped shrimp.
Yeah.
Unless you've only.
Chips.
Yeah. Here's 2 chips. Bet you can't eat just one. Well, you didn't give me the option to eat more than 2. So I guess you're theoretically right. But anyway, for me, that's my vision. So, but I also know that I have to make a plan to reach that. I've already put that plan in process. To reach that, because I know I'm gonna stay lean and green.
So really thinking through that plan and going, when you create that plan, how many more plans can you actually fit in your life?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, because when you create that plan and you've got meal prep, you've got gym time, you got all these different things that eat into a certain amount of your week.
Well, on top of the ankle,
much more week.
I got 6 to 8 weeks. The first 6 to 8 weeks of the year, I'm not gonna be able to get up and really move at all. And even after that, you got to work your way back into it. So we're looking at March, April. Before I'm fully functional, back fully going, and even then, then you got to rebuild the muscle in the leg. And we saw last year my leg got down to literally like a bone. It was the weirdest thing for me because I've always had such massive legs, So, but anyways, no, that's one thing for me. It's like making the plan to go along with your vision, And so when I look at my board, like I said, I don't really have any material things. I can't think of one thing. I don't care about a watch or a necklace or a car or a. I always see a lot of people have like this one watch that they love, like this Rolex, whatever, they want to reach that. So I don't have those things. So my things this year are definitely going to be aimed towards how can I be a better husband? Not that I think I'm a bad husband, but I think there's things that I could do better at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think there's always things you can do better at. But I think for me, I was so focused last year on my ankle being, it weighed on me a lot more than I let people know, because I was like, dude, me not being able to be up and going is very hard for me. So that weighed on me. Then even when I was able to get up and going, seeing me where I couldn't get up and dance, I couldn't be the normal me that I was. And I just really got back to being able to dance and do the things I was doing. Now I got the surgery again. But I think one of the things that got left out was me being a more caring, husband, and which is hard to say because I'm a pretty caring dude regardless,
right.
But paying more attention to my wife's business and being more motivated to help her push those things and do all that. I did it some and probably more than a lot of guys would, but I didn't do it to my full potential.
I mean, I agree. You're a way better husband than most, but I think that something that I'm hearing in you there that I think probably all 3 of us do this sometimes. We're very motivated. Very driven, go out there, get it. We don't take excuses much. And I think sometimes we may be hard on our wives in that sense as well because we forget that they're not designed exactly like us.
Yeah.
We forget that, obviously we see all the talents they have that we don't have. We see all the amazingness that we're not part of. But we're probably all 3 very quick to tell you what you're doing wrong in your business and how you could be better in this instead of understanding and going, how do I help them with the parts that are harder for them? How do I lead them in those parts and help them to grow rather than correct
I think for me,
or just think it's an excuse that you're using?
Where I think I failed more is whenever she started this up, I have all my own stuff going. And I said, no, this is your thing, So I tried to pull myself out of it more and be like, nah, I want you to come up with that with your plan, with your team that you got, and I want you to do that. And so she would come to me and ask me, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, I'm not working on that. I'm working on this other stuff. I got my own company, my own things, all this other stuff going. And I think a lot of the times it was more like, she knew, I mean, she has a good grasp on what she's doing, obviously. I mean, she's very educated. But I think it was more just like wanting to include me in it, something we were doing more together. And she made a statement to me. She said something about, yeah, you're a great husband. She's like, but, I do wish that, a lot when you go out and do a podcast, you got your buddies, you're like, bam, podcast. The management company, starting that whole thing. Bam, you got these two girls that you believed in. It's like, and I wasn't considering her in these things. But it wasn't because I wasn't considering her. It's because I wanted her to focus on her business. So I wasn't looking at bringing her into these things. So sometimes I didn't realize this, but it was making her feel. We had a great talk about it. We don't really have like fights, but we definitely have, heated debates every now and then. But when we sit down and we started talking, I was like, I don't understand why you're upset. She's like, well, I just feel like you don't ask me to be part of things.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's because you got your own thing going. I figured like you're busy enough with that. She's like, yeah, but she goes, but I would want to be part of stuff. Like with the management company, she goes like, you forget that my first dream here was music. She's like, I can help organize schedules for people. I can help do these things. And to me, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like I don't think she's good at it. I mean, she's good at everything she does, obviously. I mean, she's literally everything she does, she gets to the top level of it. So it's just taking that time for me to be like, okay, before I start working on this, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's doing anything, how can I involve my wife in it with it so that she feels like she's part of it? Not just feels like she's part of it, but actually is part of it.
Yeah.
So that's a tricky one because on a little different way, but same sort of thing. Jen and I had that discussion this year as well. Now Jen is always, for a long time, very involved in my career. She's been very involved in a lot of people's careers and different things, and she's also gotten very used at times too because people depend on her too much for things. And so I'd gotten so used to hearing her say things like that of like, I can't do everything for everybody.
Right.
That I started pulling back and I just stopped asking her to do things and be a part of different things with me. And I thought I was being nice by not putting more on her plate. But you fast forward, several months later, and she was feeling very hurt of like, hey, I helped build a lot of this stuff with you. Hey, I have these talents in these areas. And I was going, you don't have time for those talents. You're too busy over here doing this, this, and this. But not thinking about that. And I don't know that she really needed or wanted to be involved in the other things I was doing. She just wanted that conversation. She just wanted to know that I was considering her
consideration
and her feelings in different things, And she's like, "You just make decisions and you just go." And
same exact conversation because I'm the same way. I literally
But that's part of the cruise idea for me is because I had some money sitting aside that I was looking at that was for promoting my children's book when it came out, and I got to thinking about that, and I was like, giving her time away from her job and going on this cruise, I'll depend on God to figure out where that money's coming from to promote that book or whatever we're doing with that book. And just thinking about things that in times that she's thought that I've been being selfish and me going, I'm trying to take care of the family. Yeah. There are times that I realize like, I might be being selfish on this. I might be thinking about what I want and the career I want to build rather than her. And even at times, like even with her construction, when I started working with her there, where she felt like I just walked in and started going, all right, you do this, you do this, you do like, because that's my nature, and trying to understand like, how do you pull yourself back and let that person be in charge and support them? I think that's the key for me is like, how do you learn how to support someone? I know how to lead. Yeah. Support is a very different word, a very different thing. It's not just, hey, well, I let you go do this, or hey, I told people about you on my podcast, or hey, I put a thing on social media about you. Like, that's not the support that they're looking for.
So the support side is tough because they don't really want your opinion either. They want your support.
And that's not in a negative way. You don't mean
I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just meaning like...
Because we all get that way. There's certain things... I don't care about your opinion on things. I'm doing this.
Yeah. It's literal support.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then what is literal support to you guys?
I'm still learning that. That's been my struggle.
What are you guys learning so far?
I think the way I offer advice, it can't be I'm right, you're wrong. Right? It can't be if you would be doing what I've been telling you to do the past 6 months, you'd be making money. I just think there's a certain delivery you have to have.
Asking sometimes I'm finding out
Yeah.
too. Like, are you wanting my opinion or my thoughts
Yeah.
on this, or do you just need to talk about it for a minute? Like, just trying.
I think for my wife, it was more, like you said, the consideration. You know, when I come in, you know, you know me, I'm on all the time. So when I'm on and I'm coming in, well, when I first get in, it's like, okay, decompress for a minute. You know, maybe I won't be as up and talkative, and she'll ask me, "Is everything good?" I was like, "Yeah, everything went great." You know, and we talked about this before. It's like I won't give her this detail. A lot of times she wants a detail on what's going on and what's going in
that
there.
was one of the things that Jen brought up as well. It's like I wasn't telling her the details of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to interject my day onto your day.
Yeah, and that was my same thought process too. But for her, she wanted me to go in there and go into detail because she wants to feel more a part of it, you know, and be a part of it. And so for me, it's like learning that, but it was more the emotional support. It wasn't even about, you know, if I was going to have the right answers or wrong answers or this. It was more just the fact that I would come in and make sure I ask her, okay, well, what happened in your business today? How are you feeling? How's everything going? And then actually taking the time to listen, like, hey, how was your day? Well, it was good. And then, you know, for me, I'm like, cool. And I thought that would be the end of it, you know, because that's how guys are. You know, if you ask me like, how was your day? I'm like, went pretty good, man. You know, this and this happened, and that'd be it, you know. But for her, it's like, so she was like, yeah, this happened. And then, you know, this other thing happened over here. And then she'll start, you know, explaining something. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she starts talking. And then I kind of, you know, selfishly, you know, start drift away. Like, okay, well,
my mind gives all right, so what's your point? Where are you going with this? Can we
fast forward, you know, and that was where I literally kind of failed her in a way, because it was like so many times I would come in and be like, how's the business going today? You doing good? And she thought I was asking because it's like, are you making any money? But I didn't care about that. I wanted to know, honestly, how's it going? You know, so I think for her, you know, sometimes it was taking what I was asking the wrong way.
Yeah.
But then also I think part of that happened because she'd be like, yeah, she's like, well, you know, we got 2 new people and I was working on this and I'm thinking I should, and then she'll go into this whole thing about what she's thinking is going to happen 6 months from now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you're doing great, you know? And so just that more of emotional support, like, oh yeah, man. Oh, I think that would be awesome. And actually listening, being engaged, giving her that time, you know, even if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is she needs to go into that. Because I'm not that way. I'm the kind of, you know, she'll ask me when I get home from Shiners tomorrow night, when I get done playing Shiners, she's most likely going to be like, hey, how'd the show go? And most of the time I was, it went great. That's it, you know. And she want me to tell her, like, well, you know, what happened when you brought people on stage? And because she knows the show now, right? So she wants to know, like, was it a funny thing? Were they kind of awkward? Was it this, that? You know, she genuinely wants to know and then wants me to go into detail. And I think for guys, most of the time, it's just like, yeah, it was cool, man. Everything was awesome.
And there's no doubt there's a story to tell after every Shiner show.
Oh, there is always a story to tell.
I think that's the key for it. But when you've been told that you're taking the spotlight or you're talking about yourself or you're too focused on your job or your career, as many times as what all of us probably have in this room, you start to close off.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
start to tell less about your day, and then they wind up in the spot where like, so you were away from me for 13 hours and nothing happened.
Yeah,
you're like, I mean, it was a day.
Well, I think too, though, whenever I come in,
then why are you still on the phone talking to Vinny about it then?
Yeah. That's true.
Good point.
My wife
Good point.
I'll talk to her for 5 minutes and she'll be like, well, what else? You were on the phone with Jared for an hour and he was there with you. But I think it's, you know, but the funny thing is, it's like,
it's kind of almost like, it feels like sometimes like when your wife wakes up during the movie and she's like, what happened? And you're like, I don't.
Oh, dude,
I'm not sure. Me to pause this and tell you everything.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, well, she did that, and now he's killing. But why is he killing? I can't.
No, we're watching Reacher. Have y'all seen that yet?
It's fantastic.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's on Prime Video.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so good.
Chris,
what is it?
Reacher. It's like Jack Reacher.
What's his name? Chris?
Oh, no. I saw that advertised. I haven't watched it yet.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So I'm watching it. So, you know, we watched the first episode and she actually got into it, even though it's a little more, she don't really like shooting. But for some reason, I think it's probably because the actor, because he's a pretty handsome man. She actually likes this one. So we start talking.
Is that not the guy that was on Office?
Mm-mm.
What's that one then?
The guy that was on.
Oh, that's that one where it's like a serious, it's Chris Pratt, but it's serious. Yeah,
Jack Ryan's one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is
Jack Ryan's a good one too.
This
But
is-
Reacher's
No.
fantastic.
Then I did start that one and I loved it, and I was pissed off because then the next day I went to get on. And I was like, what was I watching?
Oh, yeah, Reacher.
And I was all mad because I was like, I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And I was.
Well, this Reacher show, it's cool. And so she falls asleep. She wakes up. She goes, "What did I miss?" And I'm like, a lot. Yeah. That person's dead now. They're not part of this anymore. It's like when you start watching my wife would never watch Game of Thrones, but when I was watching Game of Thrones, if you missed an episode, some key character died.
Yeah.
And if you come in an episode later, you're like, wait, what happened to him? Oh, they killed him off. I thought he was the main character. Nope.
I can tell you this: if you want my wife to wake up during the movie, put a sex scene in.
Yeah.
Wake up and be like, "What are you watching?" Like,
yeah, that happened in Reacher last night, actually. Like episode 4.
Okay, back to supporting our wives.
Well, yeah, it's emotionally supporting. To me, I was always like, "What do you mean? I do emotionally support you. I take care of the kids so you can work on that, or I do this so you can do that." And
because you're like, "Well, I feel this way about you. I don't. How do you want?" And they're like, "Yeah, but I don't feel that." And that would piss you off. Now I'm starting to get more of an understanding of like, oh, like I just got to try in different ways to show this. And like, it is hard because there are certain times when your wife's talking to you about something and you don't give a shit. Yeah. You just don't. And you're like, and you'll feel it. And I'll feel it like,
oh crap, here it comes.
Right. You're like, does she know that I don't really care? And then you'll catch yourself realizing like, I don't know what she said. Now, I don't know where we're at in this conversation.
At least once a week this happens to me, and I feel bad about it.
You feel bad, but you also know that makes you a caring husband because, like, if you weren't a caring husband, you'd be like, I don't give a shit. And you would just walk away.
Right.
And you're like, I'm trying. And I think about, like, how many times I've looked at my kids that way in the past when you've been talking to them. They're little, and you can see that glazed over look. And I think, is that how I look right now?
No, listen, I can tell you exactly. This happens to me. Something happened from.
But baby, if you're listening, I do.
A cousin or
a
sister, a sister-in-law's friend. Something happened, whether it be like
right. It's always
in a relationship advice, and I'm just like, do I know this person? Okay, and so, but what I
like, so and so and so. You're like, oh,
yeah. Well, for me, it's like as soon as you start talking about somebody else's love life or somebody else's what's going on in their marriage, I'm out. Done. No, I don't care. That's between them. They need to figure that out, So, but I've learned that it may not be important to you, but it is important to them for whatever reason. They want to share that story with you, and it's awesome that you have a person that loves you enough that actually wants to share something with you. And it's taken me. I mean, I'm still not good at it. I'm like just like you. She'll start saying something. I'll be like, "Oh crap! I have no clue what she just said." And she's fixing to ask me, "You know what I mean?" I'm gonna be like, "Mm-hmm. What did I just say?" Was it about your friend Emily? No, that's not. Nothing about Emily. Oh, crap. She's like, why are you thinking about Emily? I'm like, I was just taking a shot in the dark. I was just hoping that I would get it right.
Be in the dark with Emily.
So you mean you're never just honest and say, babe, I zoned out.
I am now.
I'm so sorry, I zoned out. Can you say that one more time?
No, she's told me. And here's my thing now. I'm sitting here, I'm like working on something, and she'll come up and start talking to me, and I'll put it down, but I'm literally in the middle of something that's important on my phone, and so she'll start talking, I'll put it down, and then I'll see myself going, oh. And I'm like, wait, what did we just say? Like, here's my wife texts me now.
But here's what they do. You see how serious he is right now. He is when Vinny gets intent on his phone, he is intent. I'm the same way, especially when it's work related. Mm-hmm. And Autumn and my girls will both come they'll just start talking to me. And I know they're talking, but I don't realize they're talking to me.
Yep.
And so I'm just zoned out, not paying any attention. And then I do look up and they're just staring at you like, are you not?
Hey, mofo.
Yeah. Are you not going to answer me or acknowledge me? And it's like, oh, you were talking to me?
Yeah. Dude.
Like if I didn't look up.
Now, listen, I prompted this before with my wife. If you see me doing something, if I'm on my computer or on my phone and I'm usually working, you know what I mean? Even if it's like trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I need to put in this post that I'm doing? Because it takes me, if you see me post, I'm like, and then I'm going back looking, I'm like, crap, I used the wrong there. Oh, I used Y-O-U-R instead of Y-O-U''R-E. Crap. So I'm in there correcting stuff, doing all kinds of stuff.
That's not even the picture I was posting.
why am I looking at this girl dancing again? No, but I'll be working on this stuff, and then she'll come in and start talking, and we'll be the only two in the room. But I don't know if she's on the phone because her business takes place on the phone too, and on her computer. So I'll be sitting there, and she'll be like, and then she'll say, "Are you not even listening to me?" I'm like, "You were talking to me." I was like, "I was working on this thing right here." She's like, "Who else would I be talking to? There's nobody else in the room." I'm like, "I don't know. I talk to myself all the time." If it was me if I walk in a room having a conversation, you might want to ask if I'm actually talking to you because I might not be. I might be having like, Vinny, what do you got to do today? Yeah, you need to go because I'll talk out loud audibly to myself. I mean, there's voices in my head. I can't get rid of them. But I'm just saying, it's like crazy old Maurice. Anyways, but no, I've told her, I was like, listen, when you come in and you want to talk, say, Vinny, get my attention, and then talk to me. Now, there's a good chance that if I'm in the middle of something, I might say, hang on a second, let me finish this up. Because, like when I'm typing something out, my mind will tell me everything I'm going to type, and it'll all be in my head at that moment. If I go away from that, I may come back and not remember everything I was going to type out. Because literally everything I'm going to type out is already in my head as I sit down. I don't just make it up as I go. It's almost like there's this, etch-a-sketch there. And if you shake me from what I'm doing, and I look up, I'm like, and I'm always like, what was I doing? And I'll forget about it. And then like 3 hours later, I'm like, those people never answer me back, and go look, oh, there's a half-written text here.
That might be the best analogy. I'm like an etch-a-sketch. I've got it in my head, and when I shake up, it's gone.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So I'm going to tell you something, and if my wife's listening to this episode, in the beginning of this, she's like, and by the end of it, she'll be like, yeah. So it's very opposite in our house on that, because I'm really, really good about, if I'm on, and I let you know that, and then I'm off. So like Jared Weeks put it about this. He's like, Jared Blake is the hardest person I know to get in touch with. But when you have him, you have his full attention. And so when you have my attention, everything else turns off. It's why my text messages are always backed up. My emails are always backed up.
Fact.
I mean, come on. You're the only one that isn't backed up. What?
I feel honored that this guy answers my text. I saw his little, he opened it up the other day. He started scrolling. You know how many blue dots are sitting there? I couldn't have my phone like that. If I got little blue dots in there, I'm like, what did I miss? Not him. You start scrolling through his, there's blue dot, blue dot.
Here, blue. That's just while we've been in here, though, But these were today.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people not getting answered back on that phone, so I feel honored.
Yeah.
So we know what Jared's 2024 commitment is going to be.
No, that won't be.
No, he don't care about it.
I don't have time for all that.
He let me know 100%. He's like, no.
So, but when you have me, you have me. And when I turn work off, I turn work off. If I go on date night, it is date night. Whatever it is that we're
Unless
doing.
I call.
If my kids come in the room, you can bet that if you got something to say to me and it's after 7, 8 o'clock at night, I ain't even looking at my phone. That's the way I've always been. But Jen is definitely the one in our relationship. She'll be on her phone and will tell you I'm listening to you and not listen to anything you say. She will not respond to you in any way whatsoever. But so one day I got pissed off at her about it. And I was like, I give you that respect. I put down my phone, but you don't do that for me. And she was like, babe, most of the time you interrupt me, it's for something stupid. Man, I got pissed off.
I could see that.
But the next time she was on her phone and I went to interrupt her to show her something, I realized dumb TikTok video. I put it down.
Listen,
Dude, it was literally, she doesn't even know this to this day. I trained myself not to interrupt her because I realized I just kept looking. Every time I wanted to interrupt her for something, I would look down to see what it was. And it was always a dumb TikTok video every single time. I had never interrupted her for something real for the next 10 days straight. I was like, every single time. And she was like, I'm over here trying to make this deal happen and you're trying to show me, look at this idiot construction guy. I've sent you a bunch of those videos.
let me just go ahead and throw this out there because we already talked about it.
I do respond more to you and Weeks, and you probably too. If you look at it back over the messages, I'll send more dumb TikTok videos to you guys.
Here's what I was going to say. I'll sit there and there'll be a text over here, a text thread with some kind of hey, we need to get this W-2 form or this, we need to get this thing done for this show over here. And then I'll have him on there and hey, can you make it to the podcast by this time? Won't get nothing. Then all of a sudden on this other text from Jared and me, I'll get a TikTok video and it's from Jared Blake. And I'm like, But if I call him, I'm like, hey, bro, did you get that message? Ah, man, I've been so busy, I ain't been able to see it. I'm like, so now I know. I realize that during his either when he's waiting outside of Home Depot
Or on the toilet.
there's TikTok getting scrolled through, and I'm going to get a video. And I know when I get that video, call him now. Call him right now. Get attention on that other stuff. Because if you miss that window, he's then back to slinging hammers and nails and climbing shingles. And
so Jen too, like she knows. She said that to somebody the other day. She was like, "I can tell you when my husband's taking a dump because I get TikTok video."
It's our text message thread amongst the three of us goes the same way. We'll have like important texts going on, like 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row.
Yeah.
And me and you will get to talking about it and answering. We'll be looking for his opinion, and we're like,
but he ain't even seen it because we put all this. He don't even know what's going on because we already put like 8 messages.
And I want to tell you, when you haven't been paying attention, it's really annoying when you look up and you're like, I got to read all of this shit. I don't even know what's happening right now.
The next thing you get's a TikTok video.
Yeah.
If you don't have the answers.
And sometimes I'm thinking maybe the answer is in this TikTok video. And it's like, oh no, it's this guy talking about they, them, there was, wers.
All right, so I feel like how's our time looking?
We're out of time.
We're out of time. I thought we were.
But we're at the same time as the other 3 videos.
Anything we want to commit to for 2024?
To me, I want to really focus on. I don't even care about the 275. I want to get under 300 pounds. And this is not like the resolution. Like, I'm very healthy. Like, I get my blood work done, all that stuff. I'm very healthy in that matter. But it's more of a personal thing for me. It's like, hey, man, you can be better than what you are. So start focusing on that. So making the plan for that starts with getting this ankle done, obviously, so I can get back to where I can actually walk, 3-4 miles without stopping. Because I used to love, in my hard 75, I did a lot of the walking was my late night workout. I would go out and walk by myself just like that. I loved that time. And I'd either listen to a book on Audible, or I would put in music, or I'd listen to a podcast, or sometimes I just walk with no music or nothing and just walk in the quiet, So definitely I want to get under 300 pounds this year. I set my goal last year for 275 by June 28th. And then, of course, I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to walk really until April or May. So I made a goal that I couldn't, reach in the way that I would normally reach it. So this year I'm trying to be more realistic with myself. I got about 33 to 40 pounds to go and get under that 300-pound mark. So I really want to focus on that. I'm going to, once every quarter, I'm going to do a detox for my liver like I did before.
Yeah.
I lost the 29 pounds. I want to do that because I think it's really helped my body overall. And so those are the plans I'm putting in place to reach that, 33-pound goal, 40-pound goal by this time, by the time it comes around. So that's going to be a big one for me. And then, like I've said, being a better dad and a better husband, putting those intentions on those times whenever I get time with my kids. Sometimes it's crazy. Like I'm a great dad. I don't have no qualms to say that. I don't feel like I'm bragging saying I'm a great dad. I'm good with my kids. But there are definitely times, like at nighttime, if the football's on, I'll be laying in bed with my daughter. I'm like, she's almost asleep. I'll turn the game on instead of sitting there and loving on her and giving her the full attention during that time. Now, we all know my daughter takes like 2 hours to go to sleep, so it's a little different. But I'll have the Monday Night Football on my phone on my NFL app, and I'll be watching and be like, is she asleep yet?
It's
I'll start
almost
to get
go
up.
time.
I start to get up and go downstairs and watch the rest of the game. Where you going, Daddy? You tell me Once Upon a Time on. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a little princess named, and she'll go, Harley. I was like,
And she wouldn't let me watch football.
She wouldn't let me watch football. And then I'll say, and Harley has a magical dragon that she rides on. Now, every single day, she goes, where's my dragon? She's like, where's my dragon?
Bro.
She's like, I need my dragon, and he's going to breathe fire. I was like, is it going to be good fire? Yeah. I'm like, okay. So being a better father, better husband, more intentional with those times together. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be working any less, but it just whenever it is time, like you said, to turn off everything else and focus on my wife at that time or focus on my kid at that time doing that. And then my personal goal is to, get down under 300 pounds. So your turn.
How about you, bro?
Time management. I really, really feel that I can do less and create just as much. I think that I put too much on my plate. I think I put too many things out there. Even if you just break it down to finances, I feel like that I could do less to create money and focus more on being better at this one particular area and I think that it'll create more. I feel like I'm just being realistic about my time.
Yeah.
It's very much about time to me, because I also believe that it doesn't matter what else is on my board. If I don't crush time, then I can't possibly achieve all the other things that are on the board.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure.
And that definitely wasn't on my board last year. I just filled it up with all the crap that I was
All the things.
I'm going to do this and this and this and that and this and this and this and that and some of that and this and this and that.
I mean, on a
All these
personal
things.
level, and that's where the time fits in, because one of my bigger goals is my fitness. It's always been my fitness, and I always lose out on it because I won't take the time to stay focused. So it's not that I don't love working out and stuff. I just but those are the things. I look at all the different little things that are falling to the wayside in my life because time management isn't there.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
What about you, bro?
I think for me, I just want to know that I'm a better person this time next year than I am today in all aspects of life. My health, my wealth, my finances, my relationships, like from start to finish, every major phase of life, I want to be able to look back and say I've improved in every one of them categories, whether it be time with my wife, my kids, my bank account, my business, my health, whatever. I want it to be better.
What's amazing about you saying that is that everybody knows you think you're incredible already.
And I appreciate that, but I know I've got failures just like everybody else. My health is
you know what
right
this
now.
just made me think of though is all three of us we're buddies. We're friends.
I don't like either one of you.
Yeah, I hate you too. But we're friends, and each one of us have a way that we can help the other person. You know what I mean? So like, I know that I can send people to you when they want to get mortgages. I meet people all the time like, yeah, I'm looking at buying a house. You know, I know that I could be more proactive about saying, hey, go talk to Jeff. Here's his number. Hit him up. And I've sent you, I think, one or two people over the little bit of time, you know, this past year that we've really become closer. But I could also help you with fitness. I mean, I could write you a meal plan. I could help you with your lifting regimen. You know, I could do that because I know all that stuff already. You know, same thing with you. Like I want to become better, you know, this year I'm going to actually get some tools.
Dude, I mean, I hadn't even thought about that, but I think that would be effective. Like, if all of a sudden you just sent either one of us a meal plan, I'm not asking you to do this. I'm just saying, like, if you just did that sporadically, it definitely boost me. It would make me go, oh, wow. Yeah. I forget that I have this tool right here.
Yeah.
That
Well, even I just think we should focus on how can we help each other succeed more in life? How can we help each other increase our wealth? Like if I send you a referral over to you, how can you help me up the amount of money I'm making? Is there a way for mine and your businesses to clash and help raise that? Same thing with you. Me and you pretty much already do everything together anyways. But even this year, like, you know, when I come back and I said, you know, I got these things that are going to help you. And he was immediately like, well, if it's going to help us, it should help you too, you know? So it's like taking those opportunities, the connections we've made, those things, being intentional with that this year on, hey, you know, if you bring something to the table for me, I want you to, you know, make financially better on that. If I have a knowledge or a way that I can help y'all, meal plans, workouts, you know, not that you shouldn't go download my wife's app because you should, but I want to be able to send y'all those things and help y'all. So let's look at that and actually be constantly thinking about how can we help each other up our health, up our wealth, up those things, you know, because I mean, when you said that, it just made me think like, do we really put that kind of time into each other, you know? Because I think that helps on all those assets. How can I help you better with time management? I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not great at it either. So, Jeff, time management.
You're just not giving advice on it. Like, it's how I can help you. It's not tell you how.
Yeah. If I don't tell you how, you're going to have way better time management.
For most people, we could say put the phone down, but you're obviously not picking yours up unless you're shitting. So,
I mean,
no, I know how to do it. I know how to fix it. Laxative in your coffee. More bathroom breaks, more time on the phone.
wait, he said most people, you tell them to put the phone down. You're trying to get me to pick my phone up.
Yeah, because we want you to get on the phone more often with us.
Honestly, it's another reason I'm like, I just need to make more money because I need someone else to handle the
phone.
stuff. I don't want to be a part of it. It doesn't bring me any joy.
Will you pay me to be your secretary?
I don't think you make a great secretary, bud.
Dude, I'll be the
You
best
just
secretary.
admitted that you were horrible.
No. I answer every single text message.
Okay.
bring us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Refined Life Podcast. We're here to make your year better. And if you come with us, we're going to teach you about time management. We're going to teach you about health and wealth and fitness. Bam! We're supposed to do a 60-minute podcast, 69 minutes on the dot right now. So I just want to make sure you know we're going to be the ones to help you. If you got anything from this, If you didn't get anything from this, we don't care. But like, share, follow, subscribe, give us 5 stars, talk to your friends, tell them about us, put us on your InstaWeb pages and all your Facebooks and tickety talks, face space, and all those things. And we love you, and we hope you have a refined life with a Refined Life podcast. Oh yeah.
Hey.